Hello folks, today I'm going to show you how to take this distributor off of a Toyota Tercel engine off without taking the valve cover off. And for that we have to remove these 3 screws to take the cap off, the distributor cap off, so we can get a reference of where the rotor is pointing at. And for that we have to remove 1, 2, and the third one is back here. Well, I removed it already back there. So for that, but you have to disconnect all your components first, or you can do that once you take the cap off. And for that, we'll take the cap off and we'll proceed. So the reason we remove our cap is so we can reference ourselves of where that rotor is pointing at. So when we take off the distributor and we're gonna put it back on, we know where it's pointing at, so we don't try to fight it, so it's easier. So that, with that said, we'll disconnect all components now, electronics, and then we'll proceed. So now that we have disconnected our distributor on the electronic side, all is holding this distributor to the head is this bolt right here, 12 millimeter, and there's this other one right here is a 12 millimeter. And these also are loosening. This can be loosened to adjust the timing, but for this purpose we're going to take them off completely, and that's all is holding the distributor to the head. Our rotor, as you can see, the distributor can spin, but the rotor stays on place because that shaft is connected to the camshaft, and it's not going to spin unless that camshaft spins. So this is how you adjust your timing, and the rotor always stays in place. This follows your cam, so this is free. Now we can pull it out. Now what we have is our distributor is loose because those bolts that we took off, and you can see this, the valve cover will be here, but you don't need to remove that to take the distributor off. You can see that the piece of the rotor, the distributor is inside, and you can see it where it's spinning inside, but that piece can be pulled out without taking the valve cover off. The opening where the distributor slides in, and what keeps the oil from coming out is this O-ring that keeps the oil from sipping by, and that's all it is, a O-ring. This is the O-ring that sits right in that groove. So if this starts leaking through there on the side of the distributor, that's because this O-ring has failed and you have to replace it. And for that, you just take the distributor off, take that one out of the groove, put a new one, and then clean, and then slide it right in there. Why the rotor spins, you see I'm spinning the rotor by hand, and that's what will be connected to the camshaft inside. It has a groove just like that, but this fits inside there. So to fit it right in, and then it will follow as the engine will turn. So you grab your new O-ring, you slide it right into the groove, and what I would recommend is to clean the oil first, all the contaminants, oil, and right here too. And then once you got the O-ring right in there, you put a little bit of gray silicone on top of it, and then you can slide everything right in there. Because the silicone, I recommend silicone especially for older cars, because that's gonna keep, and then you gotta let it dry so the oil doesn't start sipping by easier and faster. So that silicone will fill in any grooves that are being made with time. And so now you've done whatever you need to do to the distributor, or you're replacing it. So now you're going to slide it right in there, and you have cleaned and added that new, a little bit of silicone in top of that O-ring, brand new O-ring. And remember, it has a guide, so you slide it right in there, and then you kind of point where the rotor was pointing at, so you can find the match inside. So now you have it, see, it's touching the back. So now at this point, you have the distributor right inside there. So what you do is you put your 12 millimeter bolt in, we connect our electronics, and we put our cap on, and then we start adjusting the timing to get back on the road. So at this point we put our 12mm bolts in that hold our distributor to the head. So don't worry about tightening him right now because we're gonna have to play with the timing. So we just put him on, and don't lose these bolts because you're gonna need him to put the distributor back on. So now we continue, we plug in our electronics. Point we have put everything back together, but we haven't tightened our bolts that hold our distributor towards the head because we gotta adjust the timing so we can get our car back in the road. So once you get the car on timing, whatever that distributor needs to be done or stay at, that's when you tighten those bolts. So now we're gonna take this cap off. This is where the valve cover will bolt down into this bolt, and it will follow this pattern right here. We're gonna take this one off so you can see how the distributor comes in into the engine. Better view of what's going on. In reality, you don't need to take your valve cover off. You just need to know where that guide, this guy, guides with the camshaft based on where the rotor is pointing at. And that's why I tell you take the cover of the rotor off so you can see where the rotor is pointing at. So when you remove everything off of this, you can just guide the rotor by hand and then have a feeling and then start sliding it right in there so that guy, everything matches back on. And well folks, this was how to remove your distributor without removing your valve cover on a Toyota Tercel. And the thing is don't lose those 12mm bolts. There's 2 of them holding the body of the distributor towards the head, the connectors on the electronics, and 3 little bolts or screws on the valve and the distributor cap. And once you remove that, you get a point of where's that pointing at, so you know where the camshaft and this guy have to meet. So hopefully this was useful, and we'll see you soon with more videos here in el canal El Chano Jose.